Alright peeps, welcome back. I've had my lovely wife and my father help me lift this out. Well, they lifted it, I didn't do anything due to my injury. So it just slides right out of this box. So you just, once you take the top off, you just lift it straight up, and it has this polystyrene insert at the front, and then it sits in one at the bottom. So what I'll do is adjust this down. So, and hopefully someone's going to make me laugh in the comments and tell me I'm doing all right, and I'll start joking and saying stupid shit. Hopefully it'll make someone's day of my pitiful streaming. Watch out, Mr. Beast, I'm coming for you. Or Anus Tech Tips. Right, so I'm just going to lean this over onto that polystyrene. So you want to leave this on it, just so you're not touching the screen, etc. And then the legs slide up in the bottom. Right, there's two spots here, they just slide straight up in the bottom, and 4 screws. But as mine's being wall mounted, I won't be doing that. So downside of this panel as well, when I was actually looking at it, there was a couple of reviews on it that I'd seen. Mainly the biggest issue that everyone sort of picked on was the panel here. So if you're facing the panel on the left hand side, it's got, you know, all the I'll bring the camera down. So on this side here is where all the plugs fit, right? Watch out, Steven Spielberg. So it has these protective films as well. Me, I usually leave a lot of that stuff on. My wife goes off at me when I leave it on a new fridge or dishwasher, or it protects it. So you get these 4 screws that come with it for doing the Visa mount. I can't remember what size the Visa mount is. I think it's 400 by 400 or 200 by 200 that you need. So for me, I've just got to screw them on the back. I created some spaces myself for it. So yeah, it's just a matter of unscrewing these. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was 400 by 400, the mount. Right. Sweating just doing this. Rightio. So these brackets will mount on here. What we want to do is set the height roughly, get the those 2 poles in center of the screen by adjusting this bracket, which from memory I think is about there. And then that's it. Then I will get my father to lift it up for me, and then we'll plug it all in and see how she goes. Alright, adjust the camera there. Right, so I thought I would bring the camera down just so you guys can get a quick look at this bracket that's on there. Alright, so this is the bracket that goes on there. Bought it from Bunnings. This bracket, it's a Crest bracket. It's a really good bracket. It's a little bit more expensive, but very easy to put on. So you just mount it in those positions through the holes. I had some spacers, so I've put spacers with it. And it just screws. You slide it up onto the mount, and then you close this up and screw that up, and it locks it into position. Right. So these was some things I had off something else, which I can't remember what it was, but I'm using them as washers. So I've got the height where I want it. Loosen this one off a bit. That's it. So what we want is 3/4 one on the top. 3, 4. Don't forget the washer. Put the other spacer on there. Alright, that's it. Dunskies. Right, so I'll come back after my father has lifted it up and go from there. Alrighty, I'll bring the camera up here if I can. Whoa. Alright, so that's it. I'm not sure if you can see, but it just sits on there on this mount, and they flip up and 2 screws get put in to hold it into place. Alrighty. I've got to remember not to swear, because then I'll be able to have kids watch it too. Alright, so these just flip up. Like I said, get it into central position. Also, I always like to leave this on when I install a monitor, because you don't want your fingerprints all over it. It will scratch the screen. So whenever you can leave this on, best to leave it on. So yeah, this Crest monitor bracket, you get it from Bunnings. I think it was, it's about $100 or just over. I think it was 130. So great bracket. The other bracket I had, you could do like this, have a tilt adjust and that, but the monitor would actually end up sitting half cocked just from the weight. So this doesn't. The way they've designed it's just really heavy duty, and it's really good for the bigger monitors. The one I had before was just flimsy. It was cheap, nasty, and it didn't do the job right. Right, so the other thing with this monitor there's anything I could be nitpicky on apart from having the matrix turn up on the screen and having to replace it. It's a great monitor. Like, I'm willing to give it another chance. So that's why I decided to, you know, obviously get it replaced and not with something else and come back to the same monitor, because it is a great monitor. The OLED, I mean, things like Star Citizen, Red Dead, Modern Warfare. I haven't been a huge COD, is it they call it, the kids, fan. I had a friend that convinced me to buy that. It just looks amazing in 4K, you know, and it's running really well on my setup. It's not quite max, but I'm getting like about 80 frames on average, 75, 80. And it looks ridiculous. The first scene, just looked so realistic. And the one thing I could pick on with this monitor, I'll see if I can fit that in there, like literally that is the cable, the power cable. So it's short. It's short as in, because of my desk that I've built, it has to go under the back, through the back of the desk and under the floor to the power. It won't even reach the socket. So I've got to run an extension up the back to the actual plug, and it's because it's short, you know, like, it's funny. I didn't want a 5-meter DisplayPort cable, you know, and they give you a short DisplayPort cable and a short power cable. You know, the one time you want a long cable, they give you a short one. So this plugs in on the opposite side over here, which I'm not going to do yet. I'm going to have to thread that through. The DisplayPort cable I left plugged in because I had a spare. I was using a spare one to check if it was anything with the cable when it faulted. So I've got that plugged in, and it's a good DisplayPort cable, so I'll just use that same one. So it's rated to 4K, 144, etc., etc. So yeah, I'll just I'll use that cable and hook that up. The cable that comes with it won't even reach through the desk. Like, it's so short, the DisplayPort cable. The other thing I'll do this time, because I didn't have this plugged in when I first got the monitor until I did the firmware update. So another thing that I read about with this monitor is it has a power cycle function. So what happens is, because it's OLED and it's prone to the burn-in, it has a system where after you've had it on for a certain amount of time, you can change it in the settings. I just left it on default, but it has a thing where and then it does a full, like a clean of the screen to stop the burn-in. So that matrix thing happening to it was sort of disappointing, but a lot of people have been complaining that pops up quite often. It did pop up a little bit for me, like I think it was every, say, couple of hours when I was gaming, which is annoying. When you're gaming, you get this box in the middle of the screen that says, you know, turn the power off and do not unplug, and then it takes like a good, I haven't timed it, but it takes, I believe it would be a good 3 to 5 minutes for that thing to cycle. So it's sort of annoying. If you're in the middle of a game, you could just click return on the remote and it'll disappear, but you know, then you still have to like do the clean. So that part of it was annoying. When I had the issue, I did read online had a couple of friends, we were going through Googling, and apparently that in the latest software update, in the firmware, that's one thing that they fixed, because it kept doing that. It kept coming up for people a lot and more often than it should have. So I'll install the firmware straight away this time. So this is the cable that you have to plug in to your motherboard to so it doesn't need to be plugged in all the time, I believe. So as far as I know, maybe you should read the instructions. But because I'm a typical male, no. So it's a USB out, I believe it needs. So which is what that is for. So I will plug that in. I will plug the power in, and then I will be back. Alright, so I just wanted to show you guys, give you a quick look at the setup. I've obviously neatened the cables up a bit. So as you can see, that the USB cable, USB B I think it is, or USB A cable, you can see how short it is. It's like stretched, and I haven't even plugged it in yet. So yeah, it's just wish they'd have made that a bit longer. If they had had the panel for the cables in the middle, it would have been a lot better. But yeah, apart from that, they're the only two things that, you know, I can really say, apart from the matrix lines that it got. The monitor was really good. They're the two niggly things that are sort of annoying. Power cable, and the cables on the side here, your display port, and I believe it's USB A. I can't remember. I've got a bit of short-term memory loss with that stuff. I always forget computer things. So yeah, so this is my desk as well. Like I said at the start of the stream, I think, you know, eventually, I hate asking for, I'm not the sort of person that's going to go, hey, subscribe and press the link, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. You know, if you want to watch the channel and I start bringing out more content that you enjoy, you know, eventually when I've got better from my injury, I've got a simulator seat. I do a bit of sim racing, but that was built like, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 years ago now. It's got the old Logitech with it. So I have the VR as well. I've got the old G2, so I will be doing some content eventually with the G2, and like I said, I'm just going to start streaming and editing, and if somebody likes it or it brightens up their day, great. If not, well, yeah, it's no loss to me. You know, I enjoy building and gaming, so I've always enjoyed fabrication and building these things. So yeah, like I said, we get enough people on the channel, and eventually built one of these bad boys for someone. I'm sure someone would like that. So yeah, please subscribe and click the notification bell. All right, so I'll plug this in, and then yeah, we'll see how she looks. All right, as you can see, just wanted to show you guys my desk. So I made this desk so it was like a car bonnet. So anything I needed to work on, I can just lift it up and yeah, work on it. So like I said, you know, eventually get good enough at streaming, popular enough. I'd love to build one of these for someone and give it away. You know, I think it'd be cool, and I think someone would love this. You know, the reactions I get from people, pretty interesting. One of the best ones was had an incident happened across the road from my house. It wasn't very nice, young kid, you know, I won't go any further, but yeah, just something really bad happened to a young kid, and the police were here. The police, I had cameras, so the police come in and wanted to see the footage, and when they walked in and seen my desk, the guy was like, "What the hell is that?" Like, and I turned it on, and he says, "Is that a pinball machine?" I said, "No, it's my computer." He said, "What?" So yeah, that was really interesting because I've never thought anything of it. I just built it and thought it was cool. You know, it was something I wanted to do. So some of the reactions I've had from people that haven't seen it or I don't know that, you know, meet me and come around is unbelievable. So yeah, and I'd love to do that. I'd love to build another one. And yeah, you know, auction it off, like give it away. It'd be cool, but that's a long way off. And, you know, my first video, and I think I'm pretty rubbish. So my good friend of mine, Woots, shout out to Woots, told me I should do it, probably because I talk a lot. So, well, you know, here I am talking a lot, and hopefully we'll get more content and it'll be good. You'll see the fat skinny guy. Yeah, so I'll plug this in and have a look at the monitor. Fingers crossed it works and it hasn't got the matrix resolution happening. And you'll see the desk lit up as well. Alrighty, plugged in. Oh, plugged in and ready to rock and roll. And of course, my border collie's dog hair. Because he's shedding at the moment, it's everywhere. There's already 2 on the desk. Shirt's probably covered in them. Shout out to all the border collie owners. Alright, so let's see if this bad boy fires up, shall we? I don't see any lights on. And the power is plugged in. Oh, there we go. Just have to press the power button. So, get the camera right. Oh, this is Quentin Tarantino shit right here, I tell you. Stay. Oh yeah, this is fantastic. It's actually resting on the box, which is hilarious. Alright, so there we have it. A half-cocked picture. Let's see if we can get that shit straight. There we go. Alrighty. So that's basically it. Okay. Fantastic. Looks great. Looks absolutely great. It's a wicked monitor. Like I said, I was not upset with the monitor at all. It's a great monitor. Apart from what happened, I'm hoping, like I said, it's just a one-off. If it is something that will happen again, obviously I'll have to return it. And I won't be too happy because I like the LG monitor, but it's way more expensive. And they're pretty much the same for all the reviews that I had a look at, but I believe the LG's 43 inch as well, and I just like the bigger monitor just because of the size of the desk. I mean, you're sitting like virtually 2 meters from, you know, the back of the, sort of from the monitor. So the settings I tended to leave to default. I went through a couple of them. The only thing I did do is for the, let's adjust that camera. That's annoying me. Tarantino Watch out, buddy. So, yeah, the settings, basically, refresh rate I changed to 120, and I had the HDR on as well. So, didn't have overdrive or anything on. There is a setting in here, like I said, that's for the I believe I had it on vivid. There is a setting in here for the clean. I've got a feeling it's in here somewhere. So that's how long this stays on for. I'll have to go through and have a look. HDR, yep, auto. Brightness. And I believe I changed the resolution in Windows, and also in the video control panel I changed it to 120. And that's it. Obviously turn HDR on. I didn't really read through too much of the settings, but I will do that now that I've had it have that issue. And yeah, the other thing I did when it did have the issue was I updated their firmware to see if that had fixed the problem, which is here. So that's that cable, that square cable, which I believe is a USB A or B. So yeah, the firmware, if you go to update it, you haven't got that cable plugged into your motherboard. I tried on my front ports, it didn't work. It won't update. So it'll say, please don't turn the power off. It'll go through. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes. And I recommend doing the firmware update because there was issues with the clean screen people were having. It kept popping up. So where it says turn it off and don't turn the power off and you've got to wait, it takes a long time. I suggest doing the firmware update because of that, because apparently it fixes it. And it's the latest one, I believe, 7. So that's it. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Me waffling on like a wally and the skinny fat guy finally being shown on the internet. Like I said, I'm going to do some more streaming. And yeah, look, like I said, hopefully one day, if I do get enough people, you know, that like to watch the channel and things that I do, mainly it'll be gaming that I stream. You know, I've got a couple of little projects I want to do eventually, but it'll mainly be gaming. And yeah, I'll go through this. I'll show the entire desk. I'll go through a whole thing of it, and yeah, fingers crossed. Look, I'd love to make a desk for someone. I really would. I'd really love to smash one out again and give it away to someone. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many subscribers I'm going to need to do that. So it's probably, you know, see you when Star Citizen's finished in about 10 years. All right, enjoy. Bye, guys.